and gentlemen, and welcome to the first episode of the Preview Review Show. I'm your host, Lonnie Johnson, and I'd like to introduce our guest hosts, Tara Lynn and Brian Duvall.
How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining me today, and why don't we just get right into it? We're going to actually do reviews of movies that were supposed to be coming out this summer, but are now delayed until later on this year. Our first one coming up is going to be Wonder Woman 1984.
Wait, before we go any further, please subscribe and click on the bell so you know when we're doing this show. It really does help out you watching us. Thank you.
My life hasn't been what you probably think it has. We all have our struggles.
Have you ever been in love?
A long, long time ago. You?
So many times. Yeah, all the time.
Welcome to the future. Life is good, but it can be better. And why shouldn't it be? All you need is to want it. Think about finally having everything you always wanted.
I can save today, but you can save the world.
Steve.
Diane. Now, I take what I want in return. Everyone will see. The world needs you. You know what you need to do.
Nothing good is born from lies. And greatness is not what you think.
It's all art. That's just a trash can.
It's just a trash can. Yeah.
Okay, so that's Wonder Woman 1984. It was supposed to be due out June 5th, but unfortunately, as we know, with COVID, it's going to be delayed. So, what do we think of this action movie, the next addition to the Wonder Woman franchise?
So I'll start off. Oh my God. So I am not a Wonder Woman fan. I am a Wonder Woman movie fan. So I'll start off with that because I thought the other one was fantastic. This one, the first time watching the review, my first instinct was like, hell yeah, they're starting off with New Order. And then, being in DC, that's a local mall they were shooting in. So I'm just like, I've been there. And then on top of all of that, she lassoed fucking lightning. Like, what is that? That's insane, and I cannot wait for the movie.
Brian, what's your opinion of it?
Personally, Wonder Woman is probably the best DC character currently in the movie franchise. I love the casting of Pedro Pascal as Max Lord. I love the 80s feel to it. I love Stranger Things and love how it's, really pushed into the 80s mix. And I love how they play that. And all in all, I think it's a great next step to the evolution of the.
That's great. So with all that being said, do you think that the cinematography of this film has gone way into the overdone kind of superhero feel of it? Or do you think that they're capturing exactly the feel that needs to be for specifically this character and also the time period that's being placed in?
I think they're keeping it pretty well. I didn't see a lot of heavy CGI. I mean, obviously there is some, but there's definitely not like if you think back to any of the other things with Wonder Woman, like the Justice League and stuff like that, that was overly heavily CGI'd. I think this is perfect. Camera angles. It feels, like Brian said, it feels like the 80s. It has a total 80s feel to it. The cinematography, I think, is really well done.
I have to agree as well. When you look at, Justice League, Suicide Squad, Batman versus Superman, and even those, you can tell from the director's standpoint and the way they have the cinematography put together. This there's more put into the story than there is into like CGI and effects and stuff. So in my opinion, I think that this is an equal balance, and I think it's really good for the time frame as well.
Great. Now, with that being about the story, how do you feel? Because I'm a little conflicted about bringing back Steve from him dying in an aircraft, in World War II, and now he's back into the future. Somehow, we don't know how that's going to play out. But how do you feel about how bringing this character back just for that romantic feel for the lead character of Wonder Woman?
As a woman, I can say the romantic trope is played out. I think that they try to bring a romantic element in there just so that husbands can bring their wives to the movies. But most women, at least women I know, we don't want that nor need that. But it's also the DC universe. And I mean, technically Flash is there. So who knows if he brought him back or what happened to it. They are notorious for bringing back dead people. So it's kind of like one of those, DC's been doing it since the jump. So why not here?
Okay.
I have to agree. With DC and Flash, mixed up with that multiverse type feel, I'm not really concerned about it. I actually personally think that DC will probably expand upon that, and him being in the mix in this movie again. I think overall, with DC's play with the multiverse, I think that this piece, even though it being a small piece, the romantic, heroine or the romantic partner for the main character, in my opinion, I think that with the multiverse aspect being expanded upon in the DC universe, I think it's just going to fit right in, and it's not going to be much of a major impact.
Okay. With that, let's move on to the scoring of it. So I'm going to do Brian first. Why don't you tell us how many stars you think this movie is going to get, how it's going to do on Rotten Tomatoes, and when and where you would see it?
Okay, so I'm a little biased. I'm more of a Marvel fan. I do like some of the DC aspects as to what they've introduced so far. Right on, I'd probably say it's probably 3.5 to 4 easy. I would not be surprised if it goes to 4.5. Rotten Tomatoes, it's gonna be a gold star. It's gonna be probably 90 plus in my opinion, just because of the fact that Wonder Woman has been the best received DC vehicle so far. And for me, I will not go see it opening night. I'm more of a either later, a week into the theaters, if not straight, when it comes out to streaming or DVD.
So you're saying you're not sure if you would see it in the theater or when it comes to Netflix?
I'd say in between.
Okay. In between. Let us know what you feel.
Okay, so definitely think, 4.5 stars. Just because, like you said, Wonder Woman is the most well received. It's also done really well. DC does have a habit of making but that's the only thing is DC movies, they're either amazing or they're really bad. There's really no mediocre. So we'll see. I'm hoping this one banks on the really amazing. And as far as Rotten Tomatoes, okay, so comic book nerd time, yay. The comic book fandom in general is just a really toxic group of disgusting people. So of course there's going to be those neckbeards in there like, well, that well, you see in the comic book, that's not what really happened. So this is just absolute trash. So I think Rotten Tomatoes is probably going to take a dive because of those asshats. So probably 75 to 80%. But it should be way higher. But the toxic, yeah, so that'll be that. And absolutely opening night, and probably would see it multiple times.
All right. For myself, I would give it a 4 stars only because it is really shot well. I believe the plot is going to be, it's not going to have as many follows as some other comic book films are going to have. Like you said, like you both have said, it is probably DC's best franchise of a superhero right now that they have going on, even over the Batman films. And it's just something that looks amazing to see. As for Rotten Tomatoes, I'm going to actually split the difference in between both of you and say about 85%, only because I agree with both of you. And I am one of those comic book, have to be canon, make sure you don't throw anything extra in that's weird like that. Because, it wasn't there in the first place. Why are you doing this new thing? It just doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to say 85%. And I'm not going to watch it opening night unless I'm dragged to it, but I definitely will see it in the movie theater because something that well shot deserves to be seen on a big screen. All right.